So in this lesson, we're going to look at outputting to a file. We're going to try and recognize the syntax needed for doing this. We're going to try and prepare an algorithm to record the data to a file, and we're going to demonstrate appending values to that file afterwards. So the three stages for writing to a file are opening the file, actually writing to it, and closing it again. The reason you need the three stages is the first stage is there to make the file accessible to Python. The second one is Python actually using the file, and the third one is to close it so that the file is actually written and usable by somebody else. So if you look at the code on the right, you can see that I've called my variable f. So I've said f equals open brackets, the name of the text file, in this particular case 8000numbers.txt. There's then a comma and a W. The W stands for write. At the bottom on line 9, you can see that I've taken my variable name and I've said variable name.close to shut the file down so that somebody else could access it. Okay, so this is the code that I've just showed you, and I'm going to show you the same structures again. So don't worry too much about the import yet, but what it's actually doing is importing a function called random. And what random does, it gives me access to something called ranInt, which what that does is generate a number between 0 and 10 at random for me. So first thing we do is we open the file. I've called the file 8000numbers.txt, which gives you a hint about what the file is actually going to do. So the for loop is going to do anything inside it 8,000 times. So the f.write is saying to the program, whatever I put inside these brackets, hit like this, I want you to write to the file that we're going to call 8000numbers.txt. Because it can only write strings to a file, the str is converting this random number into a string for me. Okay, this bit is saying after you've written a random number, I want you to actually press return. Okay, so that will put each of the numbers on its own line. The f.close is saying close the file so I can't use it anymore. So what I'm going to do is press run, and as you can see it's finished because it's waiting for me to do something, and I've now got a file called 8000numbers.txt. When I click on that file, you will see there are 8,000 randomly generated numbers in the file. So that shows you how to write directly to a file. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to add number onto the end. So I want to add the number 6 onto the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this code. It's doing the same thing. It's opening the file that I've already made in write mode. I've said that the extra number I want to add is 6, and I've done that as a string. I've said write the variable value, which is 6, to the file, and then close the file. So at the moment, the file has all the random numbers in, and all I'm expecting it to do is at the end of the file, add a 6 on the end. Okay, so I'm expecting a 6 here. So when I run the code, let's see what that does. I've now only got the value 6. Okay, so the W isn't right. Something has gone wrong using W. If you remember back to arrays, we don't write to an array, we append to an end of an array. So what I'm going to do is change the W to an A. Okay, so what this is now telling my code to do is write the 6 on the end of any file I've already got. Okay, so I run my code, and now when I go back to the code, I've got all my random numbers back, and my final number at 8001 is a 6. The task that I'm asking you to do is to create a file called shoppinglist.txt. There are 3 levels to this code, and I want you to try and get as far as you can. The first part of your code will just write 3 values, banana, apple, and kiwi, to the shopping list file, and with a new line for each object. I then want your code to close the file. For the secure code, I want you to reopen the file and add one more item to the end of the list. I want you to add grapefruit on a new line with a new line return and reclose the file. In the same code, I then want you to open the file, and I want you to add the same items that you've added for the develop and secure, but I want you to do it in a different way. I want you to add them using an array. I want the objects separated by commas, all on one line. This master task will involve you looking at and reviewing things we've already done. To complete this lesson, I would like you to upload an image of your code, being the developing, the secure and the mastered. Please go as far as you can. I also need you to show me an image showing me the contents of your file after running the whole program.